to another video of me taking a Saab 9000 engine, not that one, that's my car, I'm not breaking that, and fitting it into a 1981 UAZ 452. So one thing I knew was going to be an absolute nightmare with this engine and box setup is the gear selector. Standard selector ahead of the radiator, the engine, and the gearbox is all the way back there. Standard Frontera has a remote shifter mounted on top of the box. Bit tricky. Basically, I need to get it from the back to the front. So the standard UAZ has these two linkages here. As you move the stick forward and backwards, one of them moves fore and aft, and then as you move the stick side to side, the other one moves fore and aft. My plan was to try and keep the stick that it's got currently fitted to the van and the both shift linkages, and basically make something using bell cranks and lots of headaches and machining. Nah. But I think I've got a better plan. Simpler and easier to carry out. Okay, so this is the standard Frontera shifter, bolts to the top of the box, this area, small remote heading backwards, and you've got a ball and socket set up for the gear stick. If we look underneath, so as you see, as you move the stick side to side, that goes side to side, and then fore and aft, you get your fore and aft movement. So what I have come up with, and what I'm going to try, I'm going to open this hole up. It's just like a core plug type block in it, and that would give me access to this shaft inside. So I need to make this shaft move forward and backwards and side to side. So what I'm thinking is these 1/2 inch flexible joints, I'll extend this shaft, weld bolt, attach it to it somehow, and that will allow me to pull and twist to give me all the gears. So I've very accurately laid out the setup I'd go for. That's the gear stick. That's the engine. These rods with these UJs will go around it. And then that piece of wood is my gearbox. One thing to note with this setup though is that it's opposite, right? So as you push the stick forward, the selector that's in the box goes backwards and vice versa. And left to right, it does the exact opposite. The right and left twisting motion is always going to be in the right direction in relation to the stick and on the box, but the fore and aft isn't. So if I mount this above the pivot point, when I pull the stick back and the gearbox actually wants to slide forward to be able to give me them gears, if I mount this above the pivot point, this would go back and then this would select the wrong gears. It would select first, third and fifth. So what I need to do is I need to put this below the pivot point. So when I move the stick back, this pulls forward, pull in the right direction on the box, allowing me to get the right gears. Now because this stick isn't really set up, this stick has basically got 2 pivots on the bottom of it. And as I move it left to right and fore and aft, it moves different arms, right? It basically gives me nothing to attach a universal joint to. So back to the Frontera setup. I basically do not need the stick on this anymore. So what I can do is chop it off and fit this to the van. So what I'll do is knock this bit of plastic off and attach this straight to underneath the stick. So when I pull the stick backwards to select second, fourth and reverse. Yeah, that makes sense. Second, fourth and reverse. This will pull forward, which is exactly what this needs to see. Okay, there's a roll pin there. You undo a blanking bolt, and then I've just hammered the roll pin out. So now I can pull this out. Super. So the plan is to add some more length to this, knock out this core plug, and have this shaft sticking out the front. I am thinking about adding in a bearing which will allow it to pull because basically I need the first UJ to be off it pretty quickly to clear the bell housing. So as it pulls, it's going to try and pull it sideways. So I'm going to probably put something in there to resist just wearing through the aluminium case. I was going to try and just weld to the end of this, arse around trying to get it straight, and then probably turn it around the lathe again, but thinking about it, I may as well just replace this whole shaft. So I've got some steel here, and this is 14.3 millimeters for some reason, and the shaft going through the selector is 14 mil. So I'm going to turn this down to 14 mil and use that. Okay, so this looks like a terrible idea. What I'm going to do is this end here, the very far left bit is 14 mil, then this bit is just large open cast in. So what I'm going to do is get a 16 mil drill bit. I'm going to turn this in the lathe, and I'm going to open this up to 16 mil. Then I'm going to turn a bit of brass to act as a bushing. Okay, so this is opened up to 16 mil. See, it's 14 mil at the end. So the next plan is to open this out to 16 mil outer diameter and 14 mil internal diameter, and part it off so it's smaller, and then this will slot in there and act as a bush, hopefully resisting wear, because I think steel and aluminium will wear through pretty quickly, but bronze would be better, but I just get offcuts, and so I use what I've got. So this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so this is what I've got. That bush that I was making, I've glued that in there. I've ballsed up the roll pin going through there, so I'm going to have to get another one and probably open the hole up further, but it's in for now, so I can carry on. I can revisit that. I've opened this up to 14 mil, which is what this is, and the next plan is to offer it up to that, drill through, and I have got some of the world's strongest split pins, so these are 5. I'm going to drill a 4.8 mil hole, push these through, and I think that'll be ample. Bearing in mind that the whole thing has just got one roll pin at the back, yeah? So, you know. Right, it's another week on since I've basically filmed anything. I've been making progress, but it's been a bit slower than I wanted it to be because as much as I'd love it to be, my entire life isn't playing down the barn on old cars. But I'm back at it now. I've made a change to one of the ways that I was going to be doing it. I'm ditching the half-inch UJs. They've all got far too much slop on them. By the time you get like all the way from the back to the front, I need to use 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to use 4 UJs. The amount of slop, I think it would be quite terrible. So I've got a 3/8 UJs. They, I guess they must have a much easier life, and all the ones I've got like 0 play in them. So that's good news. I've got to keep the one at the box as a half-inch UJ, because basically if I take it apart again, I risk breaking it. I'm just going to put up with it for now. Also, the center shaft, the center run that runs alongside the engine, I've got linear bearings to support it. These aren't brilliant. I thought they might be a bit better than they are. They've not got much in the way of rollers in them. I think they're for 3D printers effectively. But they're going to do the job. They are 16 mil. The metal work I'm using is 14 mil or 14.3. So I've made sleeves to take 2 parts of the shaft from 14 up to 16 mil. and now I'm just making a housing to support these linear bearings. Yeah, this probably definitely isn't the way you're supposed to do it, but you know, whatever. Right, open this up enough so this starts to slide in, super duper. I've got this, which I reckon is for cutting circlip grooves. So I'm going to put a circlip in the end of this. Not a brilliant finish because it was wobbling and chattering, but you know, whatevs. So this is the centre shaft, which I've added the two like 16mm spacers to. This one came out a bit bizarre. Looks like all rough, but it actually feels pretty smooth. I think it's because it was so thin by the time I was finishing it off. This one's aluminium because the second steel one I ballsed up. Alright. These are an absolute nightmare to drill. As of right now, after, I don't really want to work out how many hours, 4 million maybe, 5, 6 million, the shifter does not work. I can get fifth gear and neutral. So this is that tube with the linear bearings in it. This plate is welded to it, it's just clamped to that at the moment. I don't really know if you can see, there's some diagonals which go up around the back and bolt to this plate, bolt to this floor panel. So it's relatively solid, it's not finished, but it allows me to test everything. Well, one issue straight away is that because of this angle here, the neutral motion of this stick is actually bloody diagonal. I didn't really account for that. I didn't really think this would happen, but now that I can see it, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Because as the bottom moves away, it's effectively, you know, yeah, angles. Brilliant. Didn't account for that. Balls. And to just get this into gear now, what I did, I put the box into fifth, right? And this is what I did. I put the stick into fifth, or where fifth would be, and then I cable tied the stick over into that position, so forward and right as far as it'll go. And then I tacked the last one of these in place. So that's the problem, is that I don't have any adjustment in anything. I've got roll pins in everything, and then the other side of them are welded, so it can come apart, but not ideal. So now it's in fifth, right? That play seems to be in this 1/2 inch UJ. It's got a bit, well, absolutely fucking shitloads, and then a little bit in the box. Let me change that bastard UJ and see what happens. I'm going to end this video here, right? I don't really like releasing a video where I've not overcome a problem. Which is a bit funny really, isn't it? Because all my projects are like half finished. No, I don't. But I've got far too much footage, and I've either got to delete it because I keep running out of memory on my phone, or release it. So I'll put it on YouTube. Because, yeah, that's something which
I don't know if it's a limitation, but basically I do all the filming on my phone and I do all the editing on my phone, and it's a 256 gigabyte memory on it, and I keep filling it up, and literally once I've uploaded a video to YouTube, I've got to delete it off my phone and pretty much all the footage. Anyway, I was hoping to leave tonight and have some happy beers, but yet again they're going to be sad, angry beers. Catch me next time, which will be tomorrow, which will be less than bloody 12 hours time, and I'll be bloody taking this apart, and I'm going to change that UJ for a smaller one, or re-drill it so I can change the pins to ones with less slop. The diagonal shifter, let me see if I can just select all the gears, and then I'll see what I want to do about that. Thanks for watching. Catch me next time.